Kristen, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Tell me about your business. Tell me where you guys are located. Mention your website address, all that good stuff.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me. So I'm Kristen Wilson with Our DJ Rocks. We are based out of Orlando, Florida. We're an all-female DJ team. You can find us online at ourdjrocks.com. OURDJROCKS.com.
Nice. So what was the inspiration for like all female DJ group? I mean, that sounds awesome.
It actually kind of happened organically. It wasn't really my intention, like jump out the gate, all females. It was honestly just supposed to be me. I really never thought that I would be able to trust someone else with my brand and my vision. And if I look back now over the last 10 years, I probably would use a cliche word like your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think I just, attracted really cool, awesome chicks. I remember one of the first gigs that I was doing or had on the books I needed help with, and I knew a lot of people in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And so one of the girls that I knew, I said, hey, do you want to come with me and like just help me out with this event? I just need help. And so it kind of really started from there. And then she was shadowing me, and at that point I think it was over a course of a year, a light bulb kind of went off, and I thought, oh, maybe I could train somebody to do this. And so that's where that kind of whole thing started.
Yeah. It is challenging. Like when you have your brand, your thing, and you want to try to entrust that to somebody else. What was the turning point for you? Cause I gotta imagine, I mean, I know that's hard as it is, right? Like delegating and letting go of some things and letting people do it. So what was the turning point for you to really kind of start, oh, I think this can work?
Yeah, I really think it started with that. And really just proving to myself that I could train. And then, thankfully, that was by the time she shadowed me and I taught her, that was probably the first 2 years. So over the course of that time, she kind of really taught me that I could let go of some things. And so then at that point, her and I were working together and said, well, what if we start asking our other friends if they want to do this, right? And I think for me, it was just little by little, I would turn over a little bit of control here and there. And when I would see that it was working, I think that's what gave me the confidence.
Yeah, that's good. And there's challenges too, right? Like sometimes things don't work out and you kind of like take a step back and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I think those happen, right? I mean, that's just general for trying to delegate.
I mean, the first 5 years was a lot of trial and error. I definitely made a lot of mistakes. And I think, one big turning point for us was about 5 years ago when I realized that I actually wasn't giving up as much control as I needed to be able to still be a DJ, be a business owner, have a balanced life and actually continue to enjoy this. So as much as I thought I was giving up the control and, trusting people with that, I wasn't doing enough of it.
Yeah. Interesting. So when did you decide to become a DJ? Is like this something you've always wanted to do, or?
That's a great question. No. And it's funny because I really don't think anybody, well, okay. I apologize for those that do, because I do have really great DJs on my team right now who are like, gung-ho, I've always wanted to be a DJ, but I didn't even know that was an option for me.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, I went to college. I actually got my bachelor's degree in marketing and ad PR, and I had met someone who was a DJ. And so I would just go out with them to their events and I'd be like, oh, cool, like this is fun. But it wasn't clubs. It was private events and weddings. And so his boss let me go as like his roadie. And I mean, I fell in love. Like there had to have been my first wedding that I was an assistant on, 300 people, up lights all over the room, centerpieces gigantically tall. He went to do the introductions of the wedding party and everyone rose to their feet and everyone was just like, "Wah," like clapping their hands, and just the energy. Like I will never forget that moment. 'Cause I'm like, okay, if you're getting paid to do this, I definitely want to do this. And
Yeah.
so hit the guy that he was working for trained me, and that's kind of where it all started. And I DJ'd my way through college. I worked in the workforce for really only about 3 years, and then 2009-10, when the economy really shifted, it kind of pushed me out, and I said, you know what, let me just start my own DJ company, but I'm just going to be me. This can get me through
Yeah.
whatever the next 6 months to a year, and then I'll figure it out on the other end. And I just kept building it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great story, actually.
Thanks.
What would you say, like, so people that find you, where do they usually come from? Like referrals from previous events that you do? Do they find you online? Are they calling, how are they finding you? And then
That's a great question. We're all over the place, really. First and foremost, referrals are huge, right? And I think it's about building your reputation. So we get referrals from other vendors, from venue sources. I would say, without pulling a pie chart spreadsheet, 60% of our business is probably referrals.
nice.
And then the rest is kind of divided up between like advertising, marketing, social media, and bridal shows.
Yeah. And the referral takes a while, right? I mean, it's not like it happens overnight. You got to build your time, put your time in this thing. As couples and people see you, the work that you do, they refer you, you build relationships with venues and various other entities, right? So that you can, get some referrals. That's great. It's 60% of your business is that way. That's awesome. So what's the process when someone contacts you and they're just thinking about like, hey, I'm trying to explore what the options are. What does the process look like for a couple?
So I would say it depends on the couple. I feel like a lot of ours do a lot of research. So we'll find that maybe they've sat down and they've met with a venue or a vendor already, and they start asking, who do you think we should choose as our DJ? Most of the time in our market, the name RDJ Rocks comes up. And so they'll hear that a couple times. Then they might do a little research on the Knot and Wedding Wire, look up our reviews. Some of them end up on our Instagram channels and kind of connect with us there.
Yeah.
And then the final touch point would be they get to the website or somehow get through our email where they're asking, are you available? Can we chat?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the starting point. And then that's where really the conversation starts from there.
That's great. Do you feel like that? So you said they're doing a lot of research online first, which seems to me to be the norm. Do you feel like they're well educated by the time they get to you? Like they've already done everything. They pretty much like, hey, I'm kind of ready to go. I just want to have a quick little, make sure you're available, make sure we're a good fit together, and then go from there.
That's actually a great question. I feel like when they actually land on our website and fill out our contact form, we actually ask them where are they at in their planning process. And there's 3 options they can choose. And I forget the exact verbiage. It's something real cute and relatable, but it's, I'm just doing my research. That's it. The second option is, I know a lot about you, but I have a few more questions. And the third option is, I'm obsessed with you. I love you. I just need pricing and I'm ready to book. And so most of the time they fall in that one or that first or second category, meaning they just need pricing, they're ready to book, or we're kind of in love with you, we still have a few more questions.
Yeah.
If they don't come from our website, if they are coming from an advertising resource like the Knot, Wedding Wire, or let's just say any sort of search platform, they're at the very beginning, they've done no research. So I think kind of tying back to your last question, most of the time they know us better if they're coming from a referral or when they've done the research.
Yeah. I think that's a good option though, what you just said, like putting that on the form to like, where are you at in the process? And it makes it easier for you because then you can, you can figure out how to arrange your verbiage to communicate back with them. Because if they're just getting started, they have a lot more questions, right? They're probably like, "Oh, I don't even know, right? What goes into this?" So, yeah. So let's say they, we have a couple more questions or whatever. We're ready to book. What does the process look like for getting you to do my wedding?
Well, Shane, we love to make a connection with our couples. So we really, really encourage either a phone call or even a Zoom to kind of get to know them. I think one of the most important parts about being a DJ is being able to bring the energy and the vibes. And so
Yep.
it's really hard to connect via email, right?
Yep.
If they already know us or they've already seen us at an event or we've met them at a bridal show, it's a different thing. But we encourage them to get on a phone call, kind of connect with them there, really make sure that what their needs are we can provide. We used to do a lot of times where it was just a cookie cutter package, 6 hours DJ service, add photo booth, add up lights, done. And now what we have found is when we ask them, like, what are you envisioning? What are you really looking for? We can kind of look at it and say, okay, well, let's not include that in the package because they don't need it. And
Yep.
that could save them a little money. Or, oh my gosh, I had no idea they even wanted that. So now I can include that. And
Yep.
we really try to have that conversation of, give me an idea of like budget range and then like what your ideal package is so that I can create something for you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I don't think people do that most often. They just throw out, well, here's this and here's this and here's this. But it's good that you have the conversation up front. And then now you can go, well, I'm not going to offer them that because I don't think they're going to be fit. That's not something they're going to want, right? That's perfect, right? Like, it's how important is the entertainment part of their wedding, right? Like, if entertainment is like, it's not that important, I think we need a DJ to make some whatever, right? Then already, like, you're either not a good fit for us because we like to have a good party, or we can offer you something, but you're not going to want all the bells and whistles. So here's what we can offer you, right? I mean, that's yeah.
I feel like sometimes even to myself as a consumer, when I am looking for a service and I kind of have an idea of what I'm looking for, but I kind of don't, and then they just email me like 5 pages worth of options, I
Yeah.
just get overwhelmed. And for me, I'd rather take 15 minutes to hop on a phone call and tell you what I need, and then you just give me exactly what I'm looking for. So it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, or at least have someone maybe ask you questions up front, right?
Yes.
Like on your form, like where are you at in the process? Maybe some other questions to kind of get to know what they're interested in, and then boom, if that's what they want, then all right, here's some options I think would fit for you based on the questions that you answered. I think that's a good way to approach it. So how long in advance basically are people typically booking with you, and then what does the process look like? Like, are we do we kind of decide on everything today? Like, let's say my wedding's 6 months from today, right? I'm booking you. Do we decide on everything today, what's happening, or do we have multiple discussions?
Yeah, so it's really up to them. Once we get to the kind of the end of the phone call, we ask them the question, where are you at in this process? Are you ready to chat with your, decision-making team? We don't call it that, but we usually know who is it? Is it parents? Is it mom, dad, fiance? And we straight up ask, are you ready to book today? Do you need, time to chat tonight and then get back to us? So we really find out from them when they're making the decision. And then once they give us that answer, we know, okay, we either send them the contract or we send a proposal. And then we usually set up a second phone call with them just as kind of like a touch base. Okay, did you chat? Does this package work? And are you ready to go? And then once they're ready to go, we've got digital contracts, and then we just require a 50% deposit.
That's nice. And then, so once they make the deposit, do you guys have multiple meetings, or is it pretty much set?
So after that point, basically they go into the planning process. We have an online planning system for them, and they can throw in all their music, all their wedding details, things like that.
Gotcha.
And then usually about 30, 45 days out, we'll start to have our planning meetings with them.
All right, perfect. And then by that time, you're all done anyway, and it's like, okay, we'll see you then.
Yep.
Right?
We try to keep in touch with them throughout the process, because most people will book. I mean, the average is 8 months out to book DJ. Some book it a year or even more out. And so we just send emails to kind of keep in touch with them, or, we'll encourage them to follow us on Instagram so we can kind of engage and continue building that relationship. We've got resources like Pinterest and Spotify for them to engage with. So, we want it to be fun for them. We want to inspire them through the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you, is like, how far in advance should I be booking a DJ?
Well, it depends on It depends on the season, I would say, and where you're getting married in the US, because everybody's seasons are different. I think if DJ is something that's really important to you, a year out. That way you get first pick. You don't have to worry about dates selling out or things like that.
Yeah.
But again, 6 months to a year is kind of the average.
Gotcha. That's good. And then another question say couples would ask was like, what questions should I be asking a DJ, when I'm interviewing them?
That is a really great question. I have a laundry list of those on our blog, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, so I'll probably send you there. But I think to answer the question, the most important thing that I would say might not even be a question is I would say at least do a smidge of research. Look for the DJ online, see if you can at least find reviews so that you can decide right away what type of reputation does this person have. You
Nice.
want to look for someone who's reputable and someone who's, I want to say, good quality, meaning you can really tell the quality of a review by the length and the words that the people are using. If someone just goes online and puts a 5-star review and says this DJ was great, thanks for rocking,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But then if the review is 5 stars and it says, oh my gosh, you have to have Kristen, the night was so amazing, like you can hear that. So I would say look for that. And then, social media, I feel like DJs have to be relatable, and the social media can say everything. So before you even get to the point of asking questions, I would say do those 2 things.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like especially for DJs and photographers and even planners, really. I mean, social media is like a godsend for you guys, right? Because there's so much you could do and put on social media to show your brand, to show how events go. I mean, video is an awesome way to share like how things are going. I mean, it's just it's a great way. I mean, that was kind of my next question was how do you really know what makes a good DJ, right? Like how do you really know? And I think that was some of the answer there. But are there other things that I should be looking for to say, yeah, this really makes a good DJ?
Yeah, I think if there were anything I could add to everything I've said, I would really pay attention to things like what is their response time when you're emailing them? Are they professional in their emails? Are they getting back to you in a timely manner? Because that is going to kind of set the tone for the whole entire year that you're working with them. And I think everybody wants to be reassured all the time, right? And so the one thing that we can do is make sure that we're responding to our couples and we're getting them the information that they need in a timely manner. So I would say paying attention to that, because sometimes it's very telling.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. Good. Let's switch gears a little bit, talk about the business side. As a business owner, what would you say has been working well for you guys over the past couple of years?
So I think for us overall, it would just be our kind of approach to everything that we do. And that's really just being authentic and just putting ourselves out there. Whether that's in our conversations with our couples, through our emails, through marketing, when we're at wedding shows, we really just try to be who we are and never something that we're not. We try not to get caught up in what we see our competition doing. Matter of fact, we usually just turn off the notifications so we don't see that. And I really think that shines through, because sometimes, when we're seeing our couples in person, most of the time it's at the wedding shows that we'll hear them say, wow, I can't believe this DJ company did this, or, you guys are so great because you're not doing that. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, let's go. You ready to party? So I really just think, again, like it's just our approach and the way we kind of look at things.
Yeah. So it's like you taking, your ideal of being a DJ, right? Your authentic self. This is what I would want as being a DJ, and then kind of taking that and making that who you are versus kind of looking at what's happening in the market and going, hey, maybe we should be a little more like this and a little this, right? But it's really just, we're going to be our DJ rocks. That's it, right? And this is our brand. That's what you mean, right?
Yep. That's really it.
Yeah. And then on the other side of that, what would you say have been like your biggest challenges over the past couple of years?
I think as far as the business goes, it's a constant process of teaching myself, right? Because every time we go through another growth spurt, I'm learning stuff I've never done before. So I think most importantly, if there was any advice I would give anybody who would be listening or watching who is a business owner, is get to the point where you're very self-aware so that you know and you're confident in what you do know and you can do well, but then you know what you don't know well, so that you can either hire someone to do that or get a board of directors to help you with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always a challenge, right? Like, I feel like I'm constantly learning, and
Yep.
I like to be in that mode personally, because I just know that there's no way I could know. I don't really know a lot. I mean, honestly, I just feel like there's so much I can learn. And as I experience things, right, it's like you just said, right? Like, it's like you have to be open to and willing to learn, so that as you go through the, and really it is, you have to go through those hard times and experiences, because that's what really makes you, the struggles is really what makes you stronger, makes you learn more, makes you come out of that. That's my personal opinion, but I agree with that totally.
I think also too, when it comes to that, the mistakes that I've made the most of usually has to do with managing my team. Like I said, I didn't grow up in the corporate world and then, retired 20 years into it. I was only in it for 3 years. So I never even got to the point where I was in management. And so that definitely was the biggest skill that I had to learn trial and error. There was no books on it.
Yeah.
When I noticed that I started making a lot of mistakes in that, I started researching, okay, where can I learn, to fix whatever it is I'm doing. And then that's when I came across, books like Change the Culture, Change the Game, and like management books, and,
Yeah.
really kind of digging into learning everybody else's personality styles. Because I'm like, at some point in time, maybe some of this is just me and how I'm responding to things.
Yeah.
And so I've got to learn to adapt if I'm going to have a team of more than one.
Yes, that's right. And the fact that you have a team of more than one adds some flexibility in your ability to grow and perform as a business, but also be able to step back a little bit and go, look, I can't do it this weekend. I got some stuff going on, right? But you can
Yep.
still grow your business. Yeah, it's a different ball game basically when you're managing people versus actually doing the work. Completely different ball game, and yeah, it's harder. It totally is harder, because you have to do things that, um, you're looking out for other people, and trying to communicate with them what's important to them, and then being able to help them grow as a person, as an individual, um, and in their skill, right? So you're doing all of those things, like it's crazy. Yeah, it's hard. It's much harder than people
It's
think.
a juggling act for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, if you had to go back and tell yourself something 3 years ago, what would you go back and tell yourself?
3 years ago.
5 years ago, what would be the one thing you'd go back and tell yourself?
Ooh, this one's going to make me get like chill bumps. So I would probably tell myself that the road ahead, even though you think you've gone through it all and you've been through the worst, it is going to get a lot rougher in some ways, in some areas that you've never experienced, but know that you're stronger than you think.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
Woo!
All right. That's I don't know what much more you could say about that one. That's really good. Last question. What is your most inspirational, best wedding story? What do you got for me?
So I want to talk outlandish.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, as a DJ, we know that I obviously need power to do my job, right?
Yeah.
So there was one wedding I did. I had 3 sound systems, one for ceremony, one for cocktail hour, one for reception. Everything was set up, sound tested, ready to go. It was about 30 minutes prior to the bride walking down the aisle, and the power blew.
Oh,
And the power blew on the entire block that we were on in that city.
wow.
And so at that point, it was like, okay, how are we even going to do this ceremony without any power? So I was working with the venue. We were like, can we pull some generators? Because they needed it to power the venue, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, the ceremony was outside. So we called a few people, but it was going to take 45 minutes to an hour to pull generators. And so at that point, it was, fight or flight. How am I going to do this ceremony? Because the bride's still taking pictures. She doesn't even know what's going on. So I said, okay, how about this? Are you guys okay with me grabbing my truck, which, at least it was a nice looking one. I drove a black Escalade at that time. And so I said, I'll put all the music on my iPad. I can plug it in. I got a Bose sound system. I can, kind of park it to where like the back is pointing that way. I can open up all the windows and the doors and I can play the ceremony from my truck. And so that's what we did. And there's a picture of it to this day on my Instagram. And it's one of those things where literally the bride had no idea until the end of the night where the music was coming from. And I feel like in those moments, it's one of those things where as a DJ, you can't put a value on that.
No.
Couples will never know. You just have to make things happen.
That's right.
So,
So did you do the whole ceremony, like the ceremony, the cocktail reception and everything?
So I did the ceremony and then I did about 30 minutes of cocktail hour and then the generators arrived. Then once the generators arrived, they powered up half of the inside of the venue so I could start cocktail hour in there and at least turn off the truck. Right. And then by the time we got through the other half hour of the cocktail hour, all the power had came back on. So boom, we were ready to go for the reception.
Nice. Way to think. I mean, that's a great way to think, like out of the box, right? Like, oh, what do we do, right? Like just, yeah. Luckily they had Bluetooth, right? So you can just Bluetooth right into your stereo system and then,
Woo! Never thought I'd do that.
Otherwise you're out there with a boombox and
yes.
a little AV cord, right? Trying to connect to the boombox and get some stuff going, right?
You know it.
Yeah, battery powered boombox. That's all you can do. Right, with the big D batteries or what? The big ones.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you remember those days?
Oh yeah. So.
I love it.
Kristen, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
You too. If there's anything I could do for you, shoot me over an email.
Thanks. I will.
Thanks, Shane.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it with other people. Also, if you're getting married or you work in the wedding industry, I would love to interview and share your information with other people. Send me a text, 520-399-8580, or shoot me an email at letschat@wedding.report.